This manager's video is about difficult conversations. I'm going to include it as part of what I would consider the basics of management because you will run into these situations on a fairly regular basis. So it's a great tool to be able to go back to. Okay, so let's just talk about a couple of basic principles. You have to remember that this is an all-volunteer army. Nobody has to do this, and that your beauty consultants are also your customers. So if you think about the way that you would treat a customer the right way, then you want to treat your beauty consultants that way as well. If you think about how great you are at selling or booking and recruiting and dealing with overcoming objections, then treat your beauty consultants the same way. If you start expecting something from them that you haven't built a relationship with them to be able to expect, that's when you're going to butt heads a little bit. Okay, so having said that, here's a couple of things that you have to remember. First of all, when it comes to building your staff, if you don't like your staff or you don't like how your staff is or what they're like, you have to remember you recruit what you go after. So in other words, if you're going around saying things to people like, oh, it's no big deal, there's nothing to it, just get started, after all you get a kit, you can do whatever you want, whenever you want, then you're actually creating people who don't want to work. You're recruiting people who just want to get a kit and a lifetime discount. Now those are great reasons to get started as well, but again, what are you looking for with your staff? Are you looking for people who want to work? Are you finding out what her goals are in the beginning? Because your whole job as a manager is to direct her towards her goals, not to get her to do what you want her to do. And then certainly, are you setting the tone before she even picks up a kit of what you're expecting from her? Because if you act like she doesn't have to do anything, the minute she gets her kit, you can't turn around and act like she's now got to be this responsible person and do all this stuff you want her to do, okay? All right, so first example people have asked for is, what do you do when somebody doesn't report to you? Well, first of all, let's talk about preventative medicine. Did you make it clear to her when she picked up her kit? Do not even pick up your kit, Carol, if you're not agreeing to report to me when you get home from your shows. This is absolutely mandatory. Now, truthfully, it's in your best interest, but it's all about me helping you with your business, but it's also mandatory from the company. You have to report the night of the show. So if you're not going to do that, don't even pick up your kit. Are you agreeing that you'll do that each time you come home from your show? And get her to say yes. Don't just keep telling them something. Ask them a question so they have to respond. Then the first time somebody has a show, you're going to say, I cannot wait to hear how your show is tonight. And don't keep me waiting because I'll be up all night worrying about you. So be sure you report. Don't forget, line 3, total sales, bookings, recruits, questions, all of that. Tell me how you felt. Tell me what you enjoyed. Be excited about her calling you, not just the boss. If she did not call you or report to you by email, then you need to immediately contact her and ask her, are you okay? Are you all right? What happened? You know, were you in a car accident? And then if she says, oh, I just got busy or I was at my sister's lake, say, okay, don't do that to me ever again. Now, if somebody does it twice, at that point I'm going to say, okay, you know, please tell me, Carol, what's wrong, because this was the one thing I know you agreed to do, and for me to be able to help you to reach your goals in Alouette, for you to have somebody in your corner who's going to be excited for you and help you, we have to communicate. I can't do it if we're not communicating. What do we need to do to have you do this? What can I do? And then if she did it a third or fourth time, I would just be really serious and say, you know what, I want so badly for you to get out of Alouette what you want. Please tell me what I've done that's offended you. And then stop. And more than likely she'll say nothing, but I'm just, you know, I've just been busy or whatever. And say, well, listen, there's got to be something, because I know you're a person of your word. I mean, I'm sure you wouldn't say, yes, I'll report, but then you didn't report. And then she'll either report or she won't. If she doesn't report, just keep thanking her for everything she does, but don't go out of your way. Don't make yourself crazy. You know, put her shows in pencil. When they hold, you'll be excited about it, but move on. That's why it's always about who's next. You're not going to change somebody who has bad habits or authority issues just because you got her into Alouette. Okay, number 2, when somebody is resistant to hearing your advice or your direction, again, let's go back to preventative. Are you really talking to her about what your relationship is going to be? Are you talking to her about her goals? So if somebody is saying to me, I'm feeling on the other end of the phone that she's just not listening, I have to ask myself, am I asking her questions or am I just yammering on to her? People don't think unless you've asked them questions. They don't have to think. They can just sit there and let it go in one ear and out the other. So ask questions. What do you think you need to do? What do you think would be the best thing? You know, but if somebody is resisting, I will often say to her, listen, I know you don't know me very well, and we all have histories before we get into Alouette. Did something happen to you in your past, like with an authority figure, a teacher, or a boss or something? Because I get the feeling that you feel like when I'm telling you or directing you with what to do, that somehow I'm making you wrong or a failure. And that's not my intention at all. So, is it something like that? And then feel her out and then let her know what your intentions are. But again, if somebody's not going to listen to you, just thank them for what they did and move on to who's next. Because who do you want to be spending your time with? If you're putting all your time and energy into people that are not responding to you, is it her fault? No, it's yours. It's your fault. You can't use that as an excuse for not being successful. You have to move on to the next person. Okay, the next thing is, if a girl on your staff is negative when she's around other people on the staff, okay, again, preventative medicine is letting people know that Alouette's all about praising people to success. We really are very, very focused on having a positive environment. We all have stuff in our lives, but we don't drag it into Alouette. Before a staff meeting, you need to let people know how they need to operate. But if somebody is negative, you need to pull her aside and say, you know what? I wanted to have some personal time to talk to you because I really need your help. I can feel that you want to have a relationship with the people on the staff. You want to make a connection. But what I've noticed is, and maybe you have too, do you notice that when you're talking to people, your connection is always about stuff that isn't going well for you? Is it because you feel bad or you feel guilty about it? Because I don't want you to feel guilty about anything. I don't want you to feel like you have to justify anything. If you come to the monthly meeting and you feel like, oh, I feel terrible because I'm not up there, so I'm going to tell everybody what a tough time I've had, please don't do that. You know what? You're a great person and you can just bring your great personality and your concern about other people to the meeting. But when you're negative, it makes people uncomfortable. You could also say, if it's chronic, you could say, I don't want to have happen to you what I can see happen and what's happened to other people in the past. And that is, nobody's going to say to you that you're negative. They're just going to stop wanting to be around you. And I know that's not your intention. So would you like my help with how to fix that? As a matter of fact, I had a girl who was very negative at her talking to her staff. She was a manager. And I said to her, would you like me to tell you what that sounds like if I didn't love you and know what you really meant? And she said yes. And I told her that it was coming across very critical and very bossy and very judgmental. So do you see how you can preface it? Okay, another thing is, let's say she says, well, I'm doing everything, but the system's not working. Okay, so my question to you would be, you have been telling her what to do, you haven't been asking her what she's doing, guaranteed. Because if you said book me, sell me, recruit me, you would find out she isn't doing it, and so would she, and she wouldn't be able to pull that. So that's the key thing you need to be doing, is to say, you know what, Mary, I know you're doing everything you can remember to do, but let's face it, we're all human, we can't remember everything. So would you agree with me that there's a possibility that there's more that you maybe don't even know? I mean, you know what you do know, but you don't necessarily know what you don't know? Would you like me to help you with that? But again, let's work on the preventative. Have you been telling her what to do, or have you been asking her what she has been doing so that you're very specific? And have you been getting her agreement to go ahead and follow through? Let's say she doesn't want to recruit. Oh, listen, I'm not going to recruit now. That's not my concern at all. I just want to do my own business. Well, again, for me, I'd probably joke around and say, okay, got it. So listen, if you do happen to get any people that are interested in selling, I'll take them. You know, if you don't want to take them, I'll take them. But I sure as heck can't understand why you don't want to make 35%. So what you're telling me is you do not want to make any more than 25% commission. Is that it? Now she might say, well, I can still get a raise just doing shows. Say, sure, but it takes forever. But let me ask you, what's holding you back from recruiting? You need to find out what her issue is. And you know what? Her issue is that she doesn't feel she's good enough, she's ready enough, or that she'd be pushing people. And you need to come right out and say, is that how you felt about getting started yourself? And find out what's going on with her judgment. And I would say, listen, if you don't recruit people, that's your business. You're the one losing out. But I just want to deal with what the real issue is here for you. Not just say, okay, no problem. Okay, what if she doesn't want to attend monthly meetings? I would always say, listen, I've never known anybody that was really successful who didn't attend the meetings. Now, that's for somebody who's close enough to come to meetings. If she's not, then you want to get her out to shows of yours and a staff meeting. What if she thinks she's really doing great and she isn't? Well, again, this goes back to, do you know her goals? Because if she's meeting her goals, then she is doing great. If she isn't meeting her goals, then probably what she's afraid of is failing. So you need to make it okay for her to be where she is and to improve. Okay, if you want more specific help, I can give you a real specific detail, but that's a good outline for starting.